We are back at Hilltop, where Sasha and Maggie are recovering from their encounter with Negan, though not everyone is happy they're there. And Carl and Enid go on a road trip. It's The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 5. Go-Getters. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So, of course, there are spoilers ahead, just so you've been warned. Alright, so, nice episode this week, not a whole lot of action, got a lot more story development going on here, and of course, we get to check back up with Hilltop and see how Maggie and Sasha are doing. And of course, that's really the primary focus of this week's episode. And we're really seeing Maggie sort of stepping into her own. We're starting to see the early vestiges of her leadership at Hilltop starting to come into play. First, we have the dealings with Gregory. And Gregory here, of course, continuing his previous example of himself really just being a douchebag. Honestly, first thing as he pops out, glad you guys recovered, now get out. It was nice to see that the baby is okay, always a good sign, and that sort of allows Glenn to sort of continue to be in Maggie's life. Always a wonderful thing. Though I have to say, when she was deciding to use the watch as a grave marker, I didn't think that was really the best choice. Yes, Herschel gave that to Glenn, and yes, that's a sign for Glenn, but wouldn't she then want to give that watch to her son or daughter as something passed down from her father to Glenn, and then from Glenn to the child? So, I mean, I thought that would have been nice. How things do end up at the end with her giving it to Enid with the idea of what Jesus had said, sort of that reflection back is we don't need things, we carry their memories with us. Also always very true and very heartwarming, but I would have thought that that would have been kind of a nice thing. There isn't much that people carry and have through this apocalypse, very few actual personal items, so I would think that these things might be a little stronger feeling for all of us. But anyway, point being is she gets it back, and also, again, that's Gregory right there, showing just the kind of person he is, just taking it off of the grave. Really, that's Gregory's position. Even through his whole thing when Simon and the rest of the Saviors show up, he is basically showing how weak he is as a leader. He gives in. He is giving the Saviors what they want. He is willing to kind of be that front man so that he's in charge when the Saviors are gone and can sort of retain his position of self-importance. But really, he has no leadership qualities himself. He doesn't inspire people and certainly isn't willing to lead. And that really comes down and shows in the big attack that the Saviors do in the middle of the night, sort of waking up with the music and the fires going and the gates have opened. Would have thought there would have been a few more of the Hilltop residents checking this out. That's a lot of setup to have done sneakily. But of course, this is just showing Sasha and Maggie and their importance to Hilltop. And really, again, illustrated from, yes, Maggie is supposed to be taking it easy, but she can't. She calls on top, and the first thing, you got to take care of this, shouts to the guys, hey, grab that, you've got to close the gate, and then goes and gets the tractor. This is her leading. Not only leading, knowing what to do and being in charge, but leading by example as well. Willing to get into the tractor and crush that car to stop the noise. They said she had to be off of her feet. Technically, she was off of her feet in the trailer. But we did get that, of course, shot of Gregory, stepping back, not wanting to be involved. So all of this really is starting that setup, even bringing Jesus back. And I think that last comment that Jesus has to Maggie and Sasha as they're staring at the window and waiting for the Saviors to leave is, when I saw Gregory, when I came here, Gregory was already the leader, thought he was important, but no, he just sort of set himself in that position. But he's not going to be a leader for long. He is already looking at Maggie in that position as the next person to take over Hilltop. Now, they can't do that while the Saviors are coming into play because they don't know that Negan is really looking for Maggie. And since They went up directly to Hilltop, and Sasha took Maggie directly to Hilltop, while Rick and the rest of the gang went back to Alexandria. She also doesn't know that her death has been faked. So that is news that Enid can bring up and connect with them, so they can kind of all be on board. Not only can they not find Maggie and Sasha there because it would prove the connection to Alexandria, though Simon seems to imply they already guess and know that. But really also has to know that you can't be found here because they think you're dead. And if they find that you're here and not dead, not only will they be upset with Hilltop, but they're going to be upset with Alexandria as well. And of course, the other main story of this episode is Carl and Enid's road trip. And we're starting off in Alexandria there, where Rick's off. They've got to go and find stuff, got to produce. Michonne not necessarily agreeing with what Rick is, and that was the kind of nice little interaction between Michonne and Carl right after Rick had left. Is Carl knows this isn't the right thing to do. Michonne also seems to imply, certainly doesn't agree. We saw that last week's episode, that this is not the right choice to do, but is following Rick. And I love their little moment, that little kiss, where Rick is definitely trying to kind of get some space, kind of move, not push anything, and Michonne just pulling him in for that kiss. No, not on the cheek. We're doing a real, actual, passionate lover's kiss here. Really, I think is a reinforcing bit for Rick, that she is still backing him, that she doesn't judge him, she is not negative against him, she is still with Rick, even though she might disagree with the way that he's doing this. This is why she tells Carl, he might be wrong, but we don't know. And that's what Michonne is pretty much out thinking for the rest of this episode. I'm assuming she's wandering around trying to figure things out. But we do get to see Carl trying to work with his new just left eye. Now, I don't remember him being left-handed. I don't know why he is trying with the left hand. He's definitely pulling left on all of his shots. But it could be if he's right-handed. Normally when you shoot, you use your strong eye. Normally if you're shooting, you're going to use your strong eye and you line it up at the sights, and boom. What he could do is shoot goofy-eyed, which is when you use your off eye to do it. Then you use your left, line it up with the sights, and go. Not quite as comfortable, can't necessarily do it as long, but still quite an effective choice. Certainly easier than trying to learn to use your off hand versus your dominant hand. I don't know. Interesting storyline though. Probably after the chance of losing his left hand, starting to think maybe I should learn how to do this. A little bit of both hand action going on. Probably a good idea with the apocalypse. But it does allow Enid to get that very cruel dig in, and when she catches her up leaving is, I've got better aim than you. Very cold, very cruel, but not true with a car. Carl's still good with the car. And it's nice to have that salvation. Was wondering who was showing up here. Of course, ends up being Carl. Maybe having a little depth perception issues with just a single eye right now. Hasn't totally worked that out. It's a shame they lost the car. Obviously we appreciate Carl saving Enid right there, but wrecking the car in order to do it, maybe not the best choice. But it gives them their nice basic little line down through, and they get to have their little connections. And basically, Carl's basic mission here is he's not here to help Enid get to Hilltop. That's sort of just a plus. But of course, he's going after Negan. And we do get that nice little exchange between the two of them, where Carl says, no, you shouldn't have been there. You didn't want to see it, which is true. None of us wanted to see that. We had to, but we didn't want to. Carl, though, seeing it and making that choice in kind of an interesting way of saying, I watched and I knew to watch because I wanted to be sure to remember it. So that when he gets to Negan, he has that fuel within him to do. And I understand that. If it's happening, you want to watch it, you want to see it, you want to live and appreciate that moment and not turn your head. I get where he's coming from that. But Enid is also very true when that final line that she gives to him is, you're not doing this for them. The reason you're going after Negan is not for Glenn, it's not for Abraham, it's for Carl. Carl is going after Negan for Carl because of that hatred and that drive. Nice little moment between the two of them. Carl gets a little kiss. Very nice. But really, again, this is just getting him there, getting their nice little moments. He gets to have that little connection, but eventually leading to his jump in the truck. And I could tell that too. The moment that Sasha asked Jesus to find out where Negan lived, it was brutal because I'm like, great, he's going to jump in the truck and Carl is already going to be there. Which, of course, exactly how the episode ended, with a nice little hello, which was beautiful. I also loved that Jesus was pouring the whiskey out. Don't give Negan his treat. Deny him as much as you can. And then just a couple small little things. When Sasha was burying Glenn and Abraham, nobody bothered to tell her that they don't bury their dead there. I know it's a great sign to have Gregory come out and just be a dick and, we don't do this, we burn them, blah, 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 just sort of be himself. I know it gave that moment to do it, but I just sort of thought, it's a lot of work to bury a couple of bodies. You think at some point somebody would have said anything? Though most likely, I guess, they were just trying to give them their space. They'd been through a lot. Maybe they just wanted to give them that time. And also, roller skates? Really? I mean, that was nice. It was a great moment. Certainly an easier way to get from point A to point B. One, surprised they fit. Randomly finding shoes and roller skates that fit in the apocalypse. I don't know, maybe they've just got regular average. I've got huge feet. I never find anything that fits. So I guess maybe average size people, they're more interchangeable with their feet. But two, also a walker shows up. Do you really want wheels on your feet? I'm not sure if that's the most stable choice. Anyway, it was a cute moment, but I just thought, kind of impractical. When Sasha told Maggie the only thing that she found in Abraham's pockets was a cigar, the first thing I thought of was like, oh yeah, and she smoked that. She enjoyed that. It's like a last little moment with Abraham. I mean, that was kind of a cool image, but I have to say I was much more pleased with that final shot where she's sharpening her knife and she's still got that stogie in her mouth unlit. It's like she's holding on to that. That's her connection with Abraham. I have to say, I really enjoyed that. All right, so I think that's going to wrap things up for this week. Now, next week, we can catch up with Rick and the gang as they struggle and scramble to procure more items for Negan. That clock is always ticking. Plus, speaking of Negan, we have Jesus and Carl showing up at the Savior's compound. Jesus there to get some recon information. Carl looking for a little bit more. I don't think he's going to be successful, but it will be interesting to see what happens. If you did enjoy this review, go ahead and click that like button. You can throw any ideas, thoughts on how things are going down in the comments section below. How long do you think it's going to be till Maggie takes over Hilltop? How long is it going to be until Rick gets his head out of his butt and realizes this running around for Negan ain't gonna work? And how long until we finally get all these little groups, the Kingdom and Hilltop and Alexandria working together? I can't wait to see that. Anyway, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Jakes. There it is right there. You can also always click that little picture of me right here. That is the subscribe button. You can come back every week, not only for this, but also for Westworld and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. I am D, and I am out of here. I'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.